Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 6th round of the FIA Motocross World Championships, the MXGP of Spain. Of course, we return into Xanadu Arroyo Molinos, just south of Madrid, and a fantastic venue that's had a bit of a revamp since we were here last. Welcome to our live studio show on MXGP TV with me, Paul Malin, and Lisa Leyland. And, of course, we've got 3 more fantastic guests, but before we meet them, Lisa, here we are, back at your home Grand Prix, one of your faves, probably because it's just 5 minutes down the road.
It's only 5 minutes down the road, at home GP. And also, I think we're going to have 3 things. We're going to have the weather, we're going to have the fans, and good racing. What more can you ask for?
Tick, tick, tick.
Tick, tick, tick.
Job done.
Yeah.
And they've changed it as well, so it looks it's going to be maybe a different feel to it, which would be perfect.
Exactly.
All right, well, look, let's crack on with the show. And our first guest is in with us, of course. In fact, we'll introduce the guests who are coming up, actually. Jack Chambers, first, from Big Van World MTX Kawasaki. The second guest is none other than Brent Van Dioninck, the Jackie Martin's JM Honda Racing rider. Then we've got Adam Wheeler. You remember Adam Wheeler?
Look at that photo of him. He looks very smooth, doesn't he?
OnTrackOffroad.com. He looks like he's just come from one of those clubs in Soho. I hope he comes with a smoking jacket as well.
No, it'd be good to catch up with him, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's crack on with the show. And our first guest joins us then, all the way from the USA. He's now been transplanted here into Europe. Jack Chambers. And as we said, Big Van World, MTX Kawasaki. Welcome to our live studio show here. All a bit new, this whole thing of MXGP. Yeah. But before we get into that, first of all, background, sort of way from how did you get into the whole racing thing, first race and all the rest of it?
Yeah, so I actually never really raced motocross much as a kid. I did maybe a little bit on the 50. I don't really remember much of that. But my dad signed me up for the KTM Junior Supercross, but I never did it. Okay. I'm pretty sure my mom said, no, he's not doing it. We're pulling out of that one. We're not doing that. So, yeah, we never really raced much motocross until I was 11, 12. My sister's actually the reason I'm racing motocross, surprisingly. I always raced in the woods and did GNCC off-road endurance races. And I did that until I was probably 14 or 15 pretty seriously. I did go to Loretta's when I was 11 and 12 and 13. I was 38th to 40th place every year, made it as an alternate. Was never really into the moto scene, and it was almost just, I didn't really enjoy it. That all kind of changed. I started racing more and training more, and I kind of like the aspect of, your hard work pays off and you get a reward at the end of it. And then I saw I could make money at this, and I got invited to Monster Cup in 2018 on a Super Mini. I actually got 3rd in the second moto. The first moto, I really had no clue what I was doing out there. I was like, well,
just like the rest
fans,
of us.
wow, this is awesome. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I came around one lap. My dad had a blank pit board for me, so he was just as surprised as I was.
Cool.
So,
And then basically, how did you end up here in MX2? Just real briefly, because didn't Zach have something to do with it? Zach Osborne?
Yeah, Zach actually texted me and said there's an opportunity to go over and race in MXGP, and I just said I'm interested. So gave me a little bit more information, and then we started talking with Steve, and here we are.
Well, your first GP was in Switzerland. Yep. How did you find that? I guess it's pretty different to what you're used to.
Yeah, I had no expectations. I feel like that was pretty good for me, just because I didn't know where I would place.
Yeah.
I felt like the bike handled pretty well that weekend. I flew over on Sunday, rode the bike Tuesday and Wednesday.
Back on a plane Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, right to the race. So the bike felt great. Handled good. Obviously, I had never ridden Kawasaki before Tuesday. So
really?
Yeah, straight on the bike. But everything was super good. 14-12 finishes. I kind of had that standard set for the next race. And I feel like at Trentino, I just had that mindset of that's where my baseline is. And I kind of just pushed it too hard and didn't learn the track quick enough. I don't really ride hard pack much stuff in Florida, so but yeah, I like the ruts here, and it was a super fun track.
Good.
Jack, what would you say would be the biggest challenge so far of your European adventure? Would you say it's been the travel, the language, Dixon?
Yeah.
We just had to get that in.
Yeah, figuring out Dixon's team.
Yeah.
I know he's been doing it for 34 years. Yeah. I've heard that a couple times too. But yeah, he knows a lot. But there's a lot of things we got to figure out. Me gelling with the bike is one of them, and there's a couple issues that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm in Spain riding my dirt bike. So, and next weekend I'll be back in British Championship, and then the weekend after that in France. So I'm getting to travel the world and do what I love. So I'm keeping a positive attitude and just trying to learn every weekend and get better.
All right. Well, he did mention 14, 12, 13th overall in Switzerland. Points in both races, which is important.
Yep.
But I guess transferring from Supercross to motocross this time of year, when you arrived in Switzerland, not easy.
Yeah.
So were you pleased on that basis to score in both races?
I was, and the fact that I was still passing people at the end of the moto. I didn't ride any outdoors. I tore my ACL in June last year. June to October, I didn't do really much. I started cycling back in August, September, just off the bike stuff, and started back riding in October. So as soon as I started back riding, I started on a turn track. And then straight away, I was like, I need to get on Supercross. You know, I've missed so much time on outdoors. I don't have time to worry about this. I need to get on Supercross and get time. Then I had to switch bikes. Had to go from a 22 to 23 KTM. And that was a struggle a lot with the frame being super stiff and not being, you know, flexible with my riding as well. So, yeah, Supercross from October to the week before I came here.
Yeah. Well, obviously, a couple rounds in, we were in Portugal last weekend.
Yep.
How did you find it there? Because second race, you got a good start. You're running sort of like in the top 5 for a few laps. How did you find the intensity and kind of what can you learn from the race last weekend, and what can how can you bring what you learned last week into the next few races?
Definitely. I feel like last weekend I had a really good start start off from the weekend. I was P5 in free practice. Had a bit of a problem in time qualifying, but still got a decent gate pick. And then P10 in the qualifying race. So it set me up good with good starts. The first moto was super muddy, and I just really wasn't prepared for all that went down, and had a couple crashes with other guys. But yeah, second moto, got a really good start. Actually made a couple passes to get up to fourth, and then rode that for probably 10 minutes, five or six laps, and the engine started tightening up, and I kind of went into save mode. I just wanted to get points and finish the race. I was coming up to the white flag, and the engine failed on me. I think it was in 12th at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't have the pace of those top 5 guys. I couldn't run that for 30 minutes. But obviously we'll get there, and I think that that weekend was definitely a positive step forward.
Something to work on.
Yeah. Well, this weekend, another new track for you to learn. What are your first impressions of the Spanish layout?
Yeah, walking the track yesterday, I really liked it. It looked a lot better than Trentino, in my opinion.
Had dirt.
Yeah, some dirt instead of just concrete. But yeah, I think it gets some good ruts. There's definitely going to be a little bit of a learning in this next session for me, as I only got a couple laps in this first session. But yeah, it looks fun. I'm excited. A couple big jumps. But yeah, just every weekend's a learning experience. I kind of have to go out and follow other guys and see what they're doing, and just kind of every single time, every lap I get on the track, I get better. So by the end of the weekend, that's why the second moto, I'm like, I'm feeling good now. Like everyone else's qualifying race, they're ready to hammer, and I'm like still searching for stuff. It's all so new, and a lot of the outdoor tracks in the States, I've seen, I've raced on them before, and same with these guys here. They've seen these tracks, they've raced on them, they've grown up on them, raced local championship races here, as I did in the States. So.
Well, your teammate, Courtney Duncan, she's racing WMX this weekend, isn't she? How are you guys getting on? How do you find being around?
Yeah, we're getting on good. It's actually perfect because we go to the track together and help each other out at the track. And but yeah, it's cool. It's like having a new best friend over here.
Yeah, well, I picked these guys up from the airport the other day, and that was an adventure in itself. Like the running joke is like Fiat 500 or similar. It wasn't the similar this week, so trying to bang 4 adults into in a Fiat 500 with gear bags and everything else, wearing gear.
Life on the road. Life on the road.
Yeah, we took a train from Whiteley to the airport, and then we booked a ride from the airport to the hotel, and that's all in fun though. I'm enjoying it.
It's all part of the experience.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
It?
If I just came over here and got in a limo and came to the track, that'd be cool. But
anyway,
why would you want to do that? That's too easy.
Exactly.
Well, look, Jack, we are out of time. Thanks for being on here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your adventure over in Europe.
Thanks, Jack.
Before we meet our next guest, though, it is WMX this weekend, as Lisa mentioned. And so before we go anywhere, we caught up with Daniela Guillen, who won the first round in Sardinia. Here's what she has to say about her home Grand Prix.
The third round of the WMX this weekend. So we thought, what better opportunity but to have home rider Daniela Guillen here with us. Daniela, we know it's your home round, but first let's start talking about the season so far. Sardinia was a big weekend for you. First GP overall, and you took the red plate. How amazing was that?
Yeah, it was amazing because, I win my first GP, and also the last year I do my first podium. So, yeah, I think Sardinia is a special track for me, and I think the thing that I do, it was amazing.
It was incredible to see, and also giving you that confidence coming into your home GP. Is this one you've been looking forward to?
Yeah, I think well, we are here in Spain. Also, the people is amazing. Yeah, I think a lot of interviews and something like this. But yeah, I'm really happy to stay here.
I mean, for a home rider, it's exciting. But do you feel nervous at all coming into a home GP?
Yeah, I think that I have a little bit nervous, but no, I'm happy to stay here with the fans also. All it's amazing, and the track also I like a lot.
And you mentioned the track. One good thing about this track, you can see behind us, it's surrounded by grandstands. It's going to be packed on Saturday and Sunday with fans. And the Spanish fans, they just love motocross, don't they?
Yeah, I think that the Spanish people love a lot of motocross, and also the track for me is so special because I think it's a track so technical, and I'm a rider technical, so yeah. And also with Jorge Prado and Ruben Fernandez that we are in the front, so I think it was so special here with the people.
Definitely. And, you know, like you said, Jorge Prado, title contender, Ruben Fernandez, possible title contender, yourself as well, title contender, all Spanish riders. So it's definitely going to be a good weekend for the fans. Finally, sometimes I don't like asking this question, but what is your goal for this weekend?
The first, I think, do a good race, take a good feeling with the bike and with the track, and also with the people. Yeah. And if it's possible, win, and I don't know, but win, and it is amazing, I think.
Enjoy your home GP. Thanks, Daniela.
Hello everybody, welcome back to our live studio show here on MXGPTV.com with me, Paul Malin, and Lisa Leyland. Our second guest joins us now, Brent van Dioninck from JM Honda Racing, the team run and owned by Jackie Martins, former world champion, of course. Brent van Dioninck, welcome to our studio show here once again. Back on a Honda, different team though, and you know, obviously now with Jackie Martins, the JM Honda squad. How's the bike and how are you settling in? Because you're looking pretty good out there at the moment.
Yeah, it started off really well actually already in the winter. I was really happy to be with Jackie. I wanted to be in this team for already a longer period of time, and finally we got into an agreement, and things are going really well. I like the bike. The team works really professional, and I think you can see that also in my riding.
Well, you are knocking on the door for 10th in the standings at the moment. Is that kind of, I guess, although maybe the results aren't reflecting that, because you have been a little bit unlucky, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Just thoughts on that?
Yeah. Actually, every race I finished, I was in the top 10 almost, I think. But like you said, I've been unlucky a little bit this year. Last weekend in Portugal, we had a problem with the chain. Yeah, I hit a rock or something in the corner. The chain guide was bent, and yeah, this is something you can't do anything about, not even the mechanics or whatever. This is just bad luck, and Arco, I went down in the start with a few guys. So yeah, just this small things, you know, gets me from having two good models. Yeah. If I wouldn't have this small things, then I would have been in the top 10, I think. So sure. For sure, yeah.
Well, like you mentioned, you have been a regular visitor in the top 10. Is that where you would expect to be now? Is that where you'd want to be? Yeah,
at the moment we expect me to be between 5 and 10, I would say. I had a 7, the 8. That's where I want to be. And yeah, let's see. Maybe I can get into another step. We'll see towards the end of the year, because last year I was also at my strongest at the end of the year. So, but at the moment, we're doing good, and I'm doing what they expect from me, and I'm pleased with that. Yeah.
Well, Sardinia was actually one of those weekends. So you had a 9th and an 8th, and actually some nice battles with some top players there. How was it from your seat?
Well, actually from Sardinia I expected a little bit more from me, because I did pretty well in the Dutch Master races also. But that weekend I just couldn't get a flow. I was using a lot of energy, and there were some big battles for sure, but yeah, like I said, I ran out of energy couple of times, and I wasn't in shape like like I should be. I don't know why. I was struggling a little bit.
But it was strange there because Glenn Koldenhoff said he tried to pace himself in the first race and ended up being tired. Jeffrey, when he won, when he got second in the second race, said that he also was like holding back a little bit and was getting tight. But then when he sort of pulled the trigger and went, he actually found it easier because his rhythm was better.
Yeah, I also felt that way a little bit. Like, so I was trying to
You try to save, but then you fight.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know. Yeah, it was a tough weekend.
Yeah. How do you find the level this year in MXGP? Would you say it's a lot closer now between the first 10 guys or thereabouts than it's ever been? Or do you still think there's, you know, a bigger gap between them? Because watching from the outside, it looks closer. So is the intensity level the same, you know, sort of between everybody?
I think it's similar to last year. Of course, now we have, I mean, every rider is here at the moment. Last year we had a few injured riders like Jeffrey or a few else, I think, and now like we have a full gate, like everyone's riding, and yeah, it's everyone. I mean, the battles are really close to each other. It's a big group of yeah. I mean, you can either get 15th or 7th. It's that close.
You meant we touched on some of the bad luck that you had. One of those was the chain guide in Portugal, but last weekend, first race, you know, you were up there again, and actually, you know what? And I don't say this often about a lot of riders, but you really look like you're enjoying your riding again. You know, you look relaxed, you look probably stronger than you have been. Maybe you're, you know, 100% fit and things like that. And all these things need to go together, don't they, for you to be a, well, happy racer, fast racer kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Portugal wasn't too bad, but also a little bit the same thing. I didn't feel like it maybe looked different on the outside, but I was also, I mean, struggling a little bit maybe, but it's easy to say. But I'm really enjoying, like you say, also because I feel like I don't have to worry about anything. Like everything is like I said, it's a professional team, and that makes life easier. You know, it makes me enjoy it also more.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, a new track layout. How does it compare to the original?
I think it's good what they did. It's it brings a little bit more flow in the track, a little bit faster. I think it's also better for the spectators. Yeah.
And obviously it's hot now. It was hot in Portugal, and many players actually, they struggled with the heat in Portugal. It's going to be hotter this weekend. Is that going to play a part?
Yeah, it's. I think this is the first really like warm GP of the year. Portugal was warm, but it was 25 degrees and it was like a little breeze, so it still felt alright, to be honest, for me, yeah.
Before you came on air, actually, before we came on air with the first guest, you arrived early, which is always fantastic, because we're currently waiting for our final guest. There's a reason why he's the final guest. We need him to get here from Barcelona, I think. But you were saying how sticky the track was. It was quite tacky. Like walking the track yesterday, they needed to put water in, but obviously we've arrived here, they've done that. When it gets like that, those ruts, it makes it very technical, doesn't it? Would you prefer a technical track like that, and you know, or would you prefer it just a little bit more high speed?
I like it a little bit more high speed, maybe, that you can really cross the corners a little bit, and this, you can't do here. You really have to, you get into the rut and you have to follow it. But it's also about being smart, of course. Like some ruts you just don't see. Like the fast lines, I would say. So it's it makes it harder for me, the ruts. Yeah.
And what about from here for the rest of the season then? What are the, I won't say goals, but where would you like to sort of be, you know, featuring week in, week out? 2 solid motos, I guess, first of all. That's the first place to start.
Yeah, so 2 solid motos, and like I said, between 5 and 10, that's a little bit what we expect. And I hope to have a top 5 this year also. I think that's possible. I did it also last year. And but we should not rush things. We should see it race by race. And I'm just doing my best, and I can't do more than that.
All right, well, look, I'm going to take a gamble here and hope that Adam turns up in the next 2 minutes and 22 seconds. But for now, Brent van Dioninck, JM Honda Racing, thanks for joining us in here. Have a good weekend this weekend, and enjoy the rest of the season as well. And, put those solid races together and see you hopefully battling for the top 5 as well. Maybe even a podium somewhere along the line.
Thank you.
Brent van Dioninck. Well, look, we are going to take a quick break here. But if you've not been watching, there's a brand new sort of 26 look behind the gate. We've had 4 episodes out now. Episode 5 will drop on MXGP TV a little later this week. The first 4 are also on our MXGP YouTube channel. So hey, if you haven't seen them, here's a segment. This one features Jeremy Seawer from episode 1. Enjoy.
But look, now I teach you something. How you eat the banana. Where you open? Here or here? You open there. You open the other side. Yeah. So in the past I open also here, but if you look, the monkeys eat the banana. The monkeys, they open here. Yeah, because this they use to hold the banana. So the monkeys are not so stupid. Buon appetito. Grazie. I think it is possible to be champion. I know of myself that I have all the skills and tools to win. Of course, Jeffrey Beck, bunch of other guys which are there to win. It's never easy, you know, at any year, whoever is there. Now I'm a 5 times vice world champion, you know, and I wanna become the world champion.
Dioninck picking up the gold plates. Jeremy Seawer second. Geiser, Seawer and Coldenhoff. Tim Geiser with the gold plate. Tim Geiser, Jeremy Seawer and co-running. Bronze for Prado, silver Seawer and gold for Tim Geiser.
If you finish second that often, I mean, the expectation is not to finish third, it's to finish first. That's just human being. What it takes, I mean, it needs a perfect team around you, good mechanics, a good bike, good fitness. Of course, also some luck needs to be on your side. It's plenty of things. In the end, I think it's in the head, you know, because everybody can ride a bike, everybody's fit and training. You need to be fit and ready in your head also, you know, without putting too much pressure. It has to come normal to you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to our final part of our studio show here on MXGP TV with me, Paul Malin, and Lisa Leyland. And we found a weary traveller by the side of the track earlier today. Adam Wheeler, ontrackoffroad.com. Welcome back. Where have you been? Not seen you for a while, mate. You well?
Yeah, I'm good. It's the final part of the show, but it's not the weakest part.
No.
So I hope I can deliver something for you. But yeah, no, it's good to be back, especially at this event. I mean, Spanish motocross, Paul and Lisa, I don't think it's been in a stronger phase since I can remember it. I mean, we had the likes of Jonathan Barragan and, you know, Jose Buchon taking significant results in both the MX2 class and the Premier class. But, you know, to have 2 potential Grand Prix winners here, in Jorge Prado and Ruben Fernandez is pretty special. So I think we'll get another big turnout here.
Yeah. Well, Jeffrey Hurling's the only repeat winner this year so far in MXGP. He now ties Stefan Evert's record, 101 GP victories. How's he impressed you?
Well, goodness, from the beginning. I mean, you know, did he win like his 3rd Grand Prix as a 15-year-old in 2010?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what an incredible streak. Building up that unbeaten sequence of victories, of course, at Valkenswaard in Holland. You know, I think Hurlings was destined to reach a total that would be close to it. But, you know, Paul, we remember seeing Stefan Everts' final victory, you know, in ONA in 2006, you know, when he'd sealed his world title by then, nearly went undefeated that season. But, you know, he notched 101. And I personally, I thought that would never be matched.
I was the same. I was the same. But yeah, it was just a fantastic weekend for him. But he didn't look, I was listening to your Vital MX podcast the other day with Lewis, and obviously, you know, he was like, overwhelmed by it, or underwhelmed by the fact that there was no big celebration. But I'm enjoy them while you can, but 102 might hit better when it happens.
Yeah, outright 102 is the outright record, isn't it? And I understand that's his goal fixed on, but you never really know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think even if he never wins another Grand Prix, he's still going to be right at the top of that record because he's the last one to do it.
Sure.
And he could be the last one to do it. But
Absolutely. Well, Febvre, moving on to him, he's been steady this year. Max Simino, a little bit off the pace in Portugal. How do you see their seasons panning out?
Well, Roman, I still think is, he had started to adapt to the new team, even though it was a familiar motorcycle, all the same settings from 2021. And, we can't forget that he missed a significant amount of racing last year. I still believe that, we have a lot more to see from Romain Febvre. But Maxime Renault is what I would classify as one of the most exciting riders in the class. Definitely the future of the category, still in his early 20s. There's a lot to deliver there. It seems like he's struggling physically, a small kind of injury carrying into Portugal. As soon as he's healthy, I think we'll see him back fighting for moto wins because... we saw Jeremy now just on this segment here, and I don't think you can put a price on the kind of consistency that Sua brings to the championship. And Glenn Koldenhoff has the experience and the professionalism that Yamaha really appreciate, but Maxime Renault arguably is perhaps the future of that factory team. So, I think they'll be looking to time down to a long-term future as quick as they can.
Yeah. And what about Ruben Fernandez? Obviously, looks like he's settling in now as the lone rider at HRC, because obviously big boots to fill being there on your own when the 5-time world champ is out. But I think he's done all right, hasn't he? Won the first Grand Prix, and he's 5th in the championship at the moment. Yeah,
and if you watch him ride, Paul, how could you not just, savor that riding style and the way to attack the motos? It's fantastic to watch. I was speaking to him last night, and goodness, he's beefed up. I mean, when he was on a 250, he was a big guy. He needed to shave the kilos. The Honda, let's be honest, wasn't the most powerful motorcycle in the class. He really needed to help the bike and the team, get away from the starts and be competitive. But now he can, put on the bulk and just enjoy all the HRC horsepower.
And just briefly before we go to MX2, is there anything else that's caught your eye, good, bad, or indifferent in MXGP?
I think you've got to give a shout to the people like Calvin Verlander and Valentin Guillot, some, experienced campaigners that you wouldn't necessarily associate with top 5 potential. There's been riders that I think have really caught the eye. Brent van Dioninck, who has just been on the show as well, he's been through more than his fair share of injury problems. So for him to still be standing out in this category, and with how competitive it is, this is something that doesn't always come across so well on television, is just how demanding MXGP can be. And, these guys, the fact they're out there is a big commitment anyway, but to excel is another thing altogether.
Definitely. Well, moving to MX2, barring any slip-ups, can you see anyone other than Jago Hertz winning the world title this year?
He's the reference. I mean, you don't fight for a world championship for 3 years in a row and not be considered the favourite, especially in his last season in the class before he bounces into MXGP. I mean, he does have the comfort, if you can call it that, and the support from Yamaha and the knowledge that next year he's going to be on the 450, and I think that brings a lot of advantages. But, we've been surprised. Andrea Adamo's level of performance, I think not many people would expect that kind of consistency. Yeah, some odd podiums, but to actually be up there, top 3 of the championship is a big thing. Otherwise, I think we have to expect some pretty wild displays and interesting results from the Factory Husqvarna boys. Ryan van der Moosdijk and Kai de Wolf as well, and Simon Lagenfelder. I think he might be a little underwhelmed from what he's delivered so far this season, but the way that kid rides a bike is promising for German fans as well.
Yeah. So obviously then, in terms of the rest of the challengers then, I mean, you touched on some of them. Simon Langenfelder, Rowan van der Moosdijk. Van der Moosdijk has to go up. Langenfelder, a lot expected of him this year, but so far not delivering. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's difficult to put a finger on it.
Yeah.
I don't...
Like talking to Davide De Carli last week, he was saying he's just been unlucky, bad starts, things like that. But he believes the speed is there and the pace is there and it should turn around.
Yeah, and like I said, the way he rides a bike, Paul, I think you've got to give him some time. He is on a factory-supported team, so, there is that pressure to perform. But still very young. We're not talking about a 22, 23-year-old someone.
Just.
Exactly. So I think you've got to give him, this season and, even part of the next one to really show what he can do. But he is, in theory, the Jago Hertz of this category in the coming years.
Yeah. We've not spoken about Jorge Prado yet. Obviously, he arrives as a championship leader, 17 points clear. What have you made of his performances so far? We've got about 45 seconds. His 50% race win ratio is the first race at every round.
Yeah, it's not dominance, is it? No. But then he's also profiting, I think, the most from the new format system of giving points on the Saturday. It's like 57 races.
But he hasn't, though, because Romain Febvre has 1 point more than him. And he hasn't even won a qualifying race, 37-36 in the qualifying points.
But then he's also delivering something on a Sunday.
Exactly.
But he's putting the package together and making sure of it. But Prado, I've tipped him for several years to be world champion, and come on, you can do it.
It could be his year. All right. Well, look, Adam, thanks for joining us. We are
No
out of time.
Adam.
And all the best with ontrackoffroad.com.
Thank
If
you.
you haven't seen it, go there now after the show. Well, look, we are out of time. Coming up, 3 o'clock, WMX Race 1, of course, followed by EMX 250 Race 1. You've got the schedule there, and then the RAM qualifying races a little later on MXGP TV. Well, look, from me, from Lisa, thanks to Adam Wheeler, Brent Van Dioninck, and, of course, Jack Chambers. Hope you enjoy your weekend. There's a king being coronated this weekend. Apparently.
And it's
in England.
raining.
And it's raining. Oh, well, we are here in sunny Spain. We're going to enjoy the motocross. See you next time. Bye for now.